Morning, everybody. Evening. Depends on what time of day it is when you're watching the video. I know a lot of people are going to be on live tonight. See it in the morning. Could be 2 years, 5 years from now. Anyway, so quick question for you. Raise your hand if you love wearing kilts. Okay. All right. Now raise your hand if you think there's lots of rules and everything. Okay. Now, how many of you raised your hand to a video? All right. Little shenanigans. That's all fun and games. But anyway. It's a legitimate question. How many people out there think that things should be done a specific way, and how many think that they shouldn't? And that's kind of the topic of tonight's discussion. It's all about what are people going to say, what are they going to think, and this was brought on by several discussions that I've seen since I started doing these videos where people have very strong opinions one way, very strong opinions the other way, and some have no opinion at all. So we're going to take a quick talk about those. One of the key indicators that I've seen is where you live. For folks who are in Scotland and in that area, they have very strong feelings about exactly how a kilt should be worn, when it should be worn, what you can wear, what you can't wear, all of the rules, if you will, about kilt wearing. They feel very strongly about those. Here in the U.S., the rules are negligible at best. They're smartly worded recommendations from what I've seen. That being said, we've got thousands of people wearing a kilt. What do you do? How's it going to work? So my thought is this. As for are there actual rules as to exactly what has to be worn, when, how, and where that you're going to get in trouble for? No. Are they fashion faux pas? Probably. Am I going to go out there with a kilt police badge and rip you a new one because your hose is the wrong shade of whatever? No. Here in the States, that's probably never going to happen. Overseas, especially if you're in Scotland, I don't know. I've not been myself, so I haven't had the privilege of exploring that question. But you never know. So I've got an idea and a thought on this one. And before I get to that, I need somebody who's watching to pick a volume of Kiltology, and for tonight's Kiltology. So my thought on what to wear where you are, it's very similar to the old "when in Rome, do as the Romans." So here in the States, looks like Mark got it. Volume 2. Okay. Here in the States, where there are no hard and fast rules on who's going to wear what, and the number of people who are going to call you on it to your face are just slightly north of 0, I would say you're probably fine wearing whatever you want, wherever you want, for whatever reason you want. If you're somewhere overseas, that might change depending on where you are. If you're at a formal function in Scotland, going to, I don't even know, a formal wedding, I would take some efforts into understanding what expectations are in that venue. Of course, obviously, if it's a wedding, don't piss off the wife or the bride. Don't piss off the bride's mom. That being said, make sure that you get a feel for what's going on there. And if you're, I've got a lot of friends in Australia. The rules might be a little more lax there. Nova Scotia, I'm not certain. Hopefully we can spark a discussion and figure out where folks decide on which rules are more important than others. I know that there was a discussion a couple of days ago, and one person says if you're not Scottish and you're wearing a kilt, you're a poser. And I've had lots of people say, I don't have any Scottish of any kind in my blood ever, and they wear a kilt every single day. So it just depends on where you are and who you're with. You don't want to start any kind of problem because of your choice of attire, especially, like I said, if you're in Scotland. You don't want to piss off the locals, because that'll wind up with a very short and bad trip. So again, basic ideas on opinions and rules. Opinions, there's about as many opinions of wearing the kilt as there are people who wear the kilt. And, there's plenty of jokes about opinions. So just make sure you're keeping tabs on where you are when you're wearing your kilt out. And that'll help dictate exactly how close to the traditional rules as you need to be and how far you can stray. But for those of you here in the States, odds are you're probably fine to, swing for the fences as far as what you want to do and how you want to do it. So that's tonight, and tonight's Everyday KT, number 27, and let's get to Kiltology. And we are on number 2, volume 2. Oh, let's just go with this one. Okay, Kiltology number 355, challenge. If you want to challenge a kiltie, please think about what you are asking. Be certain your request is an actual challenge. Think of some of the things that have been done by kiltie. First, successfully defeated all welding the power of the P. Now, those of you who, some of you know what that is. Conquered entire countries and communities of non-kilties, non-kilt wearers. Drained many a pub and eatery of all their provisions. Not to mention, they kept most of the Vikings and Romans at bay. So, if you want to give a serious challenge, think of something like world peace, free energy, or the end of that, it's nothing. Dancing Purple Dinosaur. Yeah, Dancing Purple Dinosaur. We all hate him. So, for those of you, if you're gonna spark a challenge with a guy in a kilt, remember, we throw trees for fun. Keep that in mind. So until tomorrow, be strong. Put a kilt on.